the mainstream press really doesn't talk about a lot of this. And when it does, it lies. No surprise there. But I don't think people really realize, and I think they want to be nice, as what I mentioned. People are afraid of the realities of some of this. They're being lied to, so they're told they have to be nice, and they want to be nice because they're nice people. But this can't, this is, we're going through such an incredible time where the country is being transformed and things are going to accelerate. It's no wonder people don't want to, honestly, it's so frightening. Things are definitely going to accelerate, and there are going to be major problems. And I'm talking about the biggest issue that we face, which is mass immigration. It affects absolutely everything. If you think the biggest issue is the health service, this massively affects the health service. If you think it's the economy, this hugely affects the economy. It affects everything. And now I mentioned it briefly, but I want to go into it a little bit more. Now, villages, rural Yorkshire villages, are going to be destroyed. If you can make it to York on the 2nd of July, there is a protest against this and about this. I will be speaking on it, 2nd of July in York. And this is going to change York, and it isn't going to stop there. And York is one of this ancient English towns. So sad, so sad to see this happening, but it is the beginning of what will accelerate now. £5 million a day to house these people, but they may be bored in Linton-on-Ouse and then take themselves off to York. My understanding is there are 4 buses every day going from there to York. And I've even heard, I don't know if this is true or not, but I've even heard that free buses will be put on for the migrants to go to York. Now, York is, it must not be far behind London in terms of tourism value. And like I said at the start, it's just so English and ancient. It is also a place of, worryingly, when we've just talked about rape, and also a place of parties. It's got a big party scene in York, a big pub scene, hen party scene, also a danger. One of the protesters said that this is supposed to be a democratic society, and yet nobody asked them. All right, this may be, nobody asked the people in Linton-on-Ouse. But this has been going on for a long time. And I really do understand what I said at the start, that I know why people don't want to confront this. I get it. But it's coming to wherever you are. I can already see change here in Hartlepool. We are not safe in this situation. And the Tories and Labour know we're not safe in this situation, and that it will change British life irreversibly. It was also mentioned on that they just rock up on the beach. Yes, I've seen that myself, and it was one of the most surreal things I think I've seen. I spent a day down on the Kent coast, and I didn't expect to see it. I expected to see the border force bringing people in, which I'd seen before, but I didn't expect to see dinghies, completely nothing, nobody around, just pulling up on the beach, and the people in it just walking off. There was nobody there. There were no border force or police or anybody. They just came in on the beach, got off the boat, and walked into the town, Dover, Folkestone. And at two. And I wasn't even there for that long. I saw it twice. It is surreal. And the reason it's surreal is because you think, how can, what? How can this be? Genuinely, how can this be? How can people just be putting up on the beach of a country and just, it's absolutely mind-blowing. I'm still concerned for the individuals who will be deeply harmed by these migrants. What are your thoughts on the UK becoming a republic and having something similar to the US Constitution instead of living under a constitutional monarchy? The country would lose its uniqueness. I've talked at a bit of length about the royal family and my own view on them. I think, look, if the majority of people want them to go, it would be very sad, as far as I'm concerned. So living in a republic, I'm not crazy about the idea because it's just another part of Britain gone, one that has been around for a very long time. Is it possible for us to have a US-style constitution under the way we are currently governed? Probably not, but it's more to do with Parliament than, I mean, technically we could have a situation where the monarch acts as legally, as technically, perhaps more than legally, as the protector and the enforcer of a written constitution, because we do need one. And people all the time say to me, we've got the Magna Carta and we've got the Bill of Rights, and none of these are a constitution. This country has a very, in the broadest sense, a constitution. It doesn't have a codified constitution like the United States. It is a mishmash of acts of parliament and of tradition and it is a mishmash. The constitution, small c constitution of this country is very, very confusing and complicated. But authority is held in acts of parliament, and the House of Commons is the highest authority. In reality, the Queen may be, but as we mentioned earlier, she's apolitical, and the authority sits in the House of Commons. So it would be difficult for us to have a constitution that, what I would like to see, which would be something which has legal supremacy like the US Constitution, and which doesn't allow Parliament to pass laws which have the result, either by intent or effect, of removing our freedom of speech, for example. And Parliament has passed laws which significantly erode our freedom of speech. They shouldn't be allowed to do that. The rights of the British citizen belong to the British citizen. They're not the property of Parliament to take and give at their whim. The safeguard supposed to be in place, of course, is that if the House of Commons does something we don't like, we vote them out. That's the idea. For that to work, you would need an honest press. You would need an informed population. We should be teaching in school, for example, about how the country is run. Everyone should understand councils and Parliament and the Commons and the Lords, and people should understand this. But fundamentally, we need an honest press for democracy to work. We don't have one. We have quite the opposite. And so the ability to hold people to account is there in theory, but not in practice, because the system is so corrupted. We are past the point of no return for being unique. You may be right. You may be right. I hope not. In certain respects, you may be right, but I don't think this country will ever really stop being unique. is something very, very, very special about this country. And you can still feel it. It's still there. I don't think it'll ever be, but I don't, not being unique, I just don't see why we have to throw something, especially now when we're going through so much change already. It saddens me, let me put it that way. It saddens me to think that we would be without that ancient part of very recognizable Britishness. And I get all the complaints about them, but yeah, having a royal family, that royal family, it's love them or loathe them, it's very, very British, and I like that.